Monty and Shasta, 95.7 The Game.
I think we're going to get Baldy next week. Baldy. Brian Baldinger. Highest rated segment in the Bay Area last year.
I love Baldy.
Comes to radio. Everybody can't get enough of Baldy.
Just don't be speeding, Baldy, around these Bay Area highways.
Slow down. Slow down.
Come on.
I can't believe. Look, Shasky, you're out there listening. 50 over Ja. Come on, man. We're not saying Ja didn't have hits. Nobody was saying that. Come on, man. Listen to this. Listen to this. Come on.
Now, it's not a payday here, but I feel like I still got money listening to this.
Come on, man.
Do you know what's funny? So I took over for Shasky, Austin Slatered him, if you will, or Tristan Beck, Alex Wood, whatever. On the tab that's open here on my computer, more top 100 hits, 50 Cent or Ja Rule.
Did he really look that up?
What are we doing?
Oh, my God. Who had more hits?
The two Queen staples have over 60 Billboard Hot 100 hits between themselves, 40 for 50, 26 for Ja Rule.
I don't even want to see him again.
He didn't want to mention that.
He really looked that up. Oh, so he looked it up.
And he didn't mention
and found out the information didn't help him, so he didn't mention it.
And it's highlighted 40 for 50, 26 for John. He didn't even say it.
Oh, what a loser.
I love that Sam's letting the bed roll here because you scared him off last time. Because
he just abruptly got to fade it down softly.
It's all right, but he doesn't have the reps there.
I know, but he was running around with his head cut off. And I was like, whoa, what happened?
I got Solo Dolo back here, so we're in command center mode. Things are a little hectic.
It's all right.
There it is.
He's doing a great job. Now you can fade it down.
I can fade it down because we're going to go to Tony and Sam Mattel. Tony, what's up, Tony? You're on the roast.
Tone.
Tony, you there?
Yes, hi, you guys. I just want to give a little plug out to a Bay Area person. You know, Don Nelson, Coach Nelson, I was with him a couple weeks ago in Maui, and he's right now feeding the community over there in Kihei. He has a company called Sugar Beach Event, and I just want to give something a positive scenario on challenging time over there in Maui.
Yeah.
And that's about all I wanted to say, my man.
Tony,
thank you for letting me do that shot. Yes.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish strong.
No, I just want, it's really to hear something positive in Golden State Warriors and giving back to the community at this time. I think it's really, really important. And again, it's a Sugar Beach event. And you know what? I'll reach out to him and maybe you guys want to contact him also. So that's about it. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
John Nelson's a good human.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It's very sad what's going on over there.
Yeah,
very
shout
sad.
out to Maui. I donated some money last night to Maui. It was just out there.
Yeah.
These people are so cool, man, and the death toll keeps going up and up and up. It just stinks, man. You never want to see people lose their homes. We've had wildfires here in California. Yeah. Natural disasters, just what can you say?
In an era where it's easy for a lot of people from other states to crap all over other states because of certain political affiliations, I think we could all come together here on Hawaii and doing what's best for them because they're part of our state. They're part of our country, man.
Yep.
Like, I know it's like to think of it as like out of sight, out of mind because they're so far away from us. It's part of us, man.
Right. No, it is. It is. And it's sad what's happened to the town of Leilani on the west side of Maui. West side of Maui, man. A lot of things are burned down. So our prayers go out to everybody on that island. Stay strong. We're praying for you. We're trying to donate everything we can to you, food, toys, clothes, whatever it is. Do what you can do to help out Maui. They are part of our country here in the United States. Scott Osler in a second. Scott Osler. Males over 20 did not pump Ja Rule when he came out. It's Ja Rule stuff.
I was watching Fast and the Furious the other day randomly, and he has a cameo in that.
Quick cameo.
Yeah, quick cameo. Monica!
He got smoked. He got smoked in that race.
R.I.P. Paul Walker. I love the original Fast and the Furious. God, they're like on Fast 10 or whatever.
I know.
What are we doing?
What am I?
Come on.
Tyrese and Ludacris.
Like it's just as ridiculous. Like Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, the amount of Mission Impossible's got to be possible.
Right.
Like, come on. What are we doing here?
I don't know. But by the way, Sunday football's back. It's back here in the Bay Area. Following the final whistle for. Immediately following the final whistle for overtime, 95-70 Games post-game show, Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett will bring you instant reaction and analysis after the first preseason game of the year. Check out overtime immediately following every game this season. Scott Osler, San Francisco Chronicle columnist, one of the funniest dudes I know. Scott joining the morning roast. I'm surprised he's got time for us. Usually he doesn't wake up this time of day. Usually he doesn't wake up till noon. Scott, what's happening?
I only got 30 seconds for you guys.
All right, well, 30 seconds, and then we got to start paying you, right? Well, radio, we're broke just like print journalism, so you're not getting anything here, Scott.
No.
Are you in Vegas? You didn't make the trip to Vegas, huh?
No, I'm not in Vegas, no.
You don't do that stuff. You're not about that life no more. All right. What's your take on this?
I do all my clubbing down here.
There you go. What is your take on this 49ers situation here? We know Brock's the starter. We don't know who the backup is, but what do you make of everything going on with San Francisco when it comes to the quarterbacks?
Well, I think it's great because I think they got 3 viable quarterbacks. And here's what I'd like to see Shanahan do. He won't do it. I suggested this before, but this would be a good situation for this, is to you got 3 quarterbacks. At least 2 of them are going to be really good and hot or whatever going in, probably 3 of them. Why not mix and match? Use them situationally. Run a different quarterback out there every series. Confuse the defense. The last thing an opposing defensive coordinator wants to see is different looks every series, every quarter or something like that. So,
wow.
Again, Shanahan won't take my advice, but he could use his entire creativity package.
You're the first person to suggest that, Scott. This is why you're you. So you want a quarterback maybe every single series. It made a best. Yeah. That would be insane. You know that, Scott. That's not happening.
No. But that would be great. Wouldn't you you'd go to the ballgame to see that, right?
I would, just to see the disaster that is the San Francisco 49ers quarterback position. Recently, Shanahan, Scott, said Brock Purdy's the real deal. What do you think he meant by that?
I'm going to take him at his word. I think he's been convinced. They like Brock Purdy. They scouted him. They talked to people. They kind of had a sense that, hey, he might be good. We can come in. We can use him in camp and all this stuff. And he's been around for a while now, and they've gotten a chance to see him. Last year, they got a great long look at him, and I really think that their eyes were opened up. I think, man, this guy is much better than anybody thought. He's the real deal. I believe that they think he is a legitimate quarterback. I don't think they think he's the next, you guys talking to Andrew Luck or anybody like that. But he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Yeah.
I think they believe that.
Yeah, by the way, Lahaina is the town that's unfortunately been burned down. And Maui, thanks for the correction there, everybody on the text line. Scott, Shanahan said something yesterday that just, sometimes at the podium, I want to take him for at his word, what you just said there. Brock Purdy's a real deal. But I don't know if I can take Shanahan at his word. He said something yesterday that was just alarming to me. The way they jerked around, you could say they jerked around Jimmy Garoppolo, but obviously the love there wasn't the same. There was no loyalty towards Jimmy Garoppolo. But yet Shanahan went out yesterday and said, hey, you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo's a top 15 quarterback. He's the best quarterback the 49ers have had since Steve Young. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if he's the best quarterback they've had since Steve Young, why isn't he still on this football team? Do you take Shanahan's word at that?
Yeah. That Jimmy love is kind of weird. Why not he doesn't have to say that stuff.
It's good for content, right?
Yeah. That whole Jimmy episode is still. You can spend hours breaking that down.
Yeah, we're kind of tired of it. We've
done it for 7 years. From the way they got him, the way he came to be in the Bay Area, just the whole chapter all along is crazy.
So they have joint practices right now with the Raiders down in Henderson, Nevada. Obviously, quarterbacks talk of the town. Who do you think has more to prove this year? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo with the Raiders or Brock Purdy with the 49ers?
Oh, I think it's Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy's. The jury on him is so divided right now. I think I think there's people in the NFL who think he's the term the real deal, and others that think it's just been a complete sham all along. So. This is his big chance. This is Jimmy's big chance. But if he can't make it with the Raiders now, he's just a guy who just fell into the right spot and did a pretty good job all along. But Purdy, they both have something to prove. But Purdy is what he is. But we don't really know. We still don't know what Jimmy is, right?
Yeah, I guess not. By the way, somebody on the text line agrees with you. Trinity Mobile text line 510. They agree with you. They should use the quarterbacks like a bullpen. The 49ers, that is. All right.
I'm done. Yeah, I don't say not every down, not every play, but situationally. There's nothing wrong if they get to third and goal at the 4, bring in Trey. right? What's wrong with that?
Oh,
Doesn't that make sense?
Well, Trey, we've seen him get blown up at the goal line, Scott. I mean, I don't know if that's the best.
Well, yeah,
that's the best
I'm not saying use Trey for the fullback dive
Right.
every time.
Yeah, speaking of which, you've been around the Cal and Stanford football programs. Pac-12 dissolving quickly. USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten next year. Arizona State, Utah, Colorado going to the Big 12. What does that mean for Cal and Stanford? They're stuck with Washington State and Oregon State. Are we going to have the Pac-4? What's going to happen to the Pac-12? And specifically, what's going to happen to Cal and Stanford?
Yeah, not Pac-4. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it the Forlorn Four.
That's pretty good.
That's a 4.
Yeah. What do you guys think is the best, most likely thing? I think it's most likely they'll try to add on probably 4 other teams and pull together a lesser, smaller conference.
Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State.
Yeah.
Maybe some of those schools. Or would Cal Berkeley fold their football program? Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility because when you think about it, Cal and Stanford are not, they shouldn't be competing against the Oklahomas and the Texases and the big schools like that, Notre Dame's and stuff like that, because they're just not. I know fairly recently, 4 or 5 years ago, Stanford was in the hunt, and not too long before that, Cal was legit and all that stuff. But just the reality of today's sports and everything, and the reality of the situation the two schools are in, they're not really big time Power 5 type football teams, I don't think. So I think they'd be better off either dumping football or playing down, playing in smaller conferences.
So where did it all go wrong here with the Pac-12? How did we get to this point, Scott?
I've been reading reams of stuff in the paper and listening to stuff, so it would take about a week to explain it all. But I think the money got too big, and this is not it's an ongoing process over the years. It used to be that football was simpler, the TV contracts weren't so massive and all that stuff. Once all the TV money came in, and then schools started competing and conferences started competing against one another for those huge money packages, then that became the overriding factor. The money became the overriding factor, and it was almost inevitable. You just can't, with all the TV contracts and stuff, you just can't keep stuff together. So I don't blame SC and UCLA for jumping. They did what they thought was right, and it's always done without regard to anything but football. Forget about the minor sports, the so-called minor sports, the Olympic sports, but basketball. The way I understand it, every basketball coach in the country is mad about this stuff because they're getting jerked around by the football programs.
Yeah.
They're having to realign and all that stuff when they don't want to. But it's just the whole situation needs to be ripped apart and redone right now because it just doesn't work to have lacrosse teams and volleyball teams and stuff flying coast to coast 2 and 3 times a week to play in these far-flung conferences. That stuff's not going to work. And I'm not the first one to say this, but they have to redo the whole structure where football goes one way and then all the other sports have to play in regions. That's the only way it can work because they're all going broke now as it is.
Yep.
And you start stretching them more, it's just not going to work. So that has to be done right now.
No
it's a
doubt.
good time to rethink the whole situation.
Scott Osler here on the Morning Roast, San Francisco Chronicle, longtime columnist for the Chronicle here on 95.7 The Game. You recently wore a Sale T-shirt to an A's game. How was that experience?
It was kind of fun. It was like joining a club. It was like, if you drive a little weird exotic sports car and you drive down the highway and you see another one, you beep at each other like you're in a club. So I became a member of the Sale Club for one day, and I did it in reaction. There was a story at last Sunday's game where a couple fans said that they were wearing Sale T-shirts at the Coliseum, and they were asked to leave the suites area at the Coliseum because they were told that these T-shirts are not allowed in this area. And so I figured, I'll go out and see what the mood is and the atmosphere. And I did not get thrown out of the suite area because apparently all of the employees have been warned. The media's after us, and so don't hassle anybody in the Sale T-shirts. But I talked to a bunch of people wearing the Sale T-shirts, and it was interesting experience. The whole phenomenon is weird,
Yeah, no doubt. What's going to
like
happen?
that I can remember in sports ever. There's been disgruntled fans and people who are mad at ownerships and stuff like that. But this whole kind of grassroots movement is there. I I don't think anything's really going to come of it other than embarrassing the A's and embarrassing Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. But that in itself is worthwhile, I think.
Are they playing in Oakland next season?
I think they will, and the reason is, Monte, that I don't think that if they play in Oakland next season, the crowds will be even smaller than now. The team will be terrible. The product will be horrible, and it will be embarrassing to the A's, to John Fisher and Dave Kaval. It'd be really embarrassing to Rob Manfred in baseball. But what we've learned to this point is those people can't be embarrassed. There's no such thing as embarrassing those people. So I think they'll just suck it up, play at Coliseum next season because they have the lease and they really have nowhere else to go, and then just try to figure it out for 3 or 4 or 5 more years after that until they get their ballpark built in Oakland. But yeah, I think that my sense is they'll be back. If I was running the team, if I owned the team right now, I would play anywhere but in Oakland next season. But they don't think like I do.
Scott, we appreciate your time here. Real quick on your way out. When I first started here at 95.7 over at the programming side, I worked with your son Gabe in my very first shift here on the board. Gabe Osler was producing Chris Townsend at night, Bonte. So if you can, Scott, just tell Gabe Joe Spadoni said hi. He helped me a lot when I first started out here.
All right, Joe, I'll give him a shout. And Bonte's always been good to him, too, so I appreciate that.
We'll let Gabe know that the station has gone up since he's left. So we thank him for his services.
Call him back. Maybe you can get him back.
Yeah, I know he wants to come. He's going through jobs quick, man. I don't know what the hell he.
No, he's doing well. Now he's working in news down in San Jose. So.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. No, Gabe's a good kid. We love Gabe. Real quick, Bochy coming back. You going to the yard to go see Boch?
No, I did not get a chance to see Boch. But good for him. Isn't that cool? Isn't that a great story?
It's an awesome story. Yeah.
One of the problems with baseball is that it's become a little bit dehumanized. With all the analytics and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm not saying, this is terrible and everything. But it's kind of the way of the future. You have computers, you use them, and I understand all that stuff. And so does Bochy, by the way. But to me, the cool thing about baseball is the human side of it, and and Bochy is a master of that. He's like Dusty Baker in a way. Guys like that to me make baseball, and it's not all about just punching in numbers and putting the right guys in the right positions. It's also about just interacting with players and with the media and with the fans and just being a good person. And Bochy has pulled that off forever. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame for his win-loss record because it's still, I think, in the negative. But he's just his heart is in the game, and I think that's cool.
That is cool. And you're cool too, Scott. You're all right as well, man.
Thanks, Monte. So are you, buddy.
Love seeing you.
And you too, Joe.
Yeah. Joe's not bad. Joe's not bad over here. He's looking.
This is like a big hug, right?
Yeah. There you go. We'll be looking for your work at the Chronicle. You're doing a great job for a long time. Scott, thanks for the time today.
Monte and Joe, thanks.
Anytime. Scott Osler, man, longtime columnist at the San Francisco Chronicle. The one thing.